Greetings to all my people out there in virtual reality. It is your host, Oba Omi, and this is your next episode of Oba Omi Says. Thank you so much for listening in. First and foremost, like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell for post notifications so you can keep all the updates going on here at Oba Omi Says. Secondly, schedule your year reading if you have not already done it. I've gotten a few requests and some schedulings for year readings. Mary D. Logoon to issue. Keep that in mind as we move forward. I try to get most of that done in the first quarter of the year. We're almost out of February, so after March, it'll be out of the first quarter. So things will be a little different then energetically. So if you can, try to get your reading done in the first quarter of the year. Thirdly, I would like to say I'm getting ready to go ahead and start working on my Station Head website, my Station Head channel. If you all don't know, Station Head is an online radio platform, so go follow Oba Omi Says over at Station Head. The link is in the description to my Station Head. So I'm probably within the next 2 weeks going to go ahead and launch that. So keep that in mind as we move forward, that I will be doing Station Head, and I will also post them here on all the platforms, but it won't be my podcast episode. It'll be a little different, so keep that in mind. And last but not least, I would also like to say, if you don't have time to watch this whole entire podcast episode, please keep in mind that the chapters will be in the description. You can pick and choose which parts you want to listen to at your leisure when you have time, so you don't have to spend your whole time watching the whole episode straight through, because I know it can be kind of long sometimes. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and kick off this episode with our pop culture and entertainment news. So let me say this, guys. This week has been very, very crazy. I mean, it was so many things that came across my desk this week that I don't even honestly know where to start. Like, it's been a crazy week. Not just for celebrity news, but everything. But, you know, it was a lot of things that I wanted to report on. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to talk about everything. But I'm going to try to bring you all the topics that I feel in my energy that would be best for you guys to know, so you all can check it out. And just stay tuned, because it gets more and more intense this episode as it goes along. Because this week has been a doozy, so if you know what I mean. So let's go ahead and start with our first topic and our celebrity news under our entertainment and pop culture news. So first up, we have Snoop Dogg takes over Death Row Records as brand owner. Snoop Dogg has taken over a popular record label that launched his stellar career. The rapper mogul acquired Death Row Records from MNRK Music Group, which is controlled by a private equity fund managed by Blackstone. The investment firm announced Wednesday. The terms of the deal were not disclosed. Snoop Dogg said he's excited about acquiring the label's brand. I'm thrilled and appreciative of the opportunity to acquire the iconic and culturally significant Death Row Records brand, which has immense untapped future value, the 50-year-old rapper Snoop Dogg said in a statement. It feels good to have ownership of the label I was a part of at the beginning of my career as one of the founding members. This is an extremely meaningful moment for me. Well, alright, Snoop Dogg, my Libra brother, then turned into one old owner of a label, which I'm kind of surprised that Snoop Dogg didn't already have a label, because it seems like he probably would have already had one, but it's never too late to get into the business. But I can see him being a very good mentor and definitely being in the position of as a CEO of a label. So I think this is a good move, and I think hopefully with Snoop Dogg in the mix, we're gonna start hearing a lot more West Coast swag in the industry, because honestly, they have a very different sound from what's right now the popular sound, because in the popular sound, they tend to go with a lot of trap and southern bass sounding music and stuff. They stole all of our stuff from the South. So, you know, it would be good to have that flip up of the West Coast and the people that go to California and the West Coast and over there to hear what they got, because they have a different vibration with their music. So I'm excited about this, and I'm excited to see what Snoop Dogg is going to do with the label. So what do you guys think about that? Do y'all see Snoop being a good CEO of Death Row? Let me know what you guys think. Now, I will say this. It is interesting. Like, I hope he's not picking up a mantle, because we all know the stories of Death Row. So I hope he's not picking up a mantle that has any type of hex or curse over it or anything. So, you know, we'll see as things go on. But you guys, let me know what you think about Snoop Dogg and his new acquisition in the comments. Moving right on along. Young Dolph shooting suspects plead not guilty in Memphis. 2 men charged with fatally shooting rapper Young Dolph in a daytime ambush at a Tennessee cookie shop pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder and other felony charges on Friday. Lawyer for Justin Johnson and Cornelius Smith entered the plea in Shelby County Criminal Court in Memphis. Both were indicted in January in the November 17th killing of Young Dolph, whose real name was Adolph Thornton Jr. Police have said 2 men got out a stolen Mercedes-Benz and fired shots into Makeda's homemade cookies, where Young Dolph was making a purchase. Police released photos taken from the surveillance video that captured the shooting. So you guys, they pled not guilty. This is interesting. I personally feel like, you know, it just looks funny, you know. It just kind of seems like one of those stories where it was a setup and they had somebody go down that seemed like they would be good suspects, but I don't know. I wasn't there. And then, you know, I don't know a lot about Memphis and Tennessee culture, but I hear it gets deep up there, so it's no telling what could have gone down with it, guys. But I don't know. I'm interested. I know these 2 guys didn't initially have a lawyer, so they had to get continuances on the trial and everything. But I'm just wondering what's really going on. I hope it wasn't some type of ploy to get Young Dolph's land or his businesses or something, because I know Young Dolph was starting a lot with his ownership. He did way more than music, so I hope it wasn't a situation where they set some people up because they wanted to acquire something that Young Dolph had, maybe through deeds or titles or something like that. Let's just hope it wasn't anything like that. But I'm interested to see how this case is going to play out. So I'm going to stay tuned on this for you guys. So let me know what you all think about this with Young Dolph's alleged murderers. Tell me what you all think about this in the comments. So moving right on along, and speaking of shootings, Kodak Black reportedly among 4 shot outside Super Bowl party. Let's see. I'm gonna get into this in the from the ground portion, but Ice-T said something about this, and they out there at the Super Bowl doing all this. So let's see what it says, you guys. 4 people were shot and wounded early Saturday after a fight broke out outside a Los Angeles restaurant hosting a party that followed a Justin Bieber concert, police said. The gunfire erupted outside the Nice Guy restaurant, striking and injuring 4 men ages 60, 22, 20, and 19. LAPD officer Lizeth Lomelli said. Their names were not released, but NBC News reported rapper Kodak Black was among the wounded. Officers who responded to the scene found 2 victims. Paramedics took them to the hospital for treatment of non-life-threatening injuries, police said in an update statement Saturday afternoon. 2 additional victims went to hospitals on their own, according to the statement. All 4 victims were listed in stable condition. Detectives asked witnesses to come forward to help them identify the gunman. Videos on TMZ.com and social media show Black posing for photos with a group of people outside the restaurant when the brawl broke out. Black is among several people involved in the brawl when shots rang out, sending everyone at the scene running for cover. Wow, y'all, this is a mess. Like, they carrying on already in LA. You know, they had to get it in for Super Bowl weekend, I guess. You know, people are doing their thing out there. But I just kind of think it's interesting. Why would they not say to other people, but they would want to put Kodak Black out there just because he's a quote-unquote celebrity or because he's on Billboard right now? Like, That's just kind of weird to me, you guys. It's kind of unusual, but you know, I'm hoping Kodak Black gets better. He's had a lot of things following him, and I hope he keeps his streak of just being successful, because he's been on Billboard. He has, you know, Super Gremlin has been doing really well. Kodak Black is very talented, as a matter of fact, though. But you know, I just pray that he's able to stay on the straight and narrow and to do the things that he needs to do to support himself and his family in the future. So, you guys, let me know what you think about Kodak Black in this situation in the comments. Moving right on along, Bieber wows A-list crowd at pre-Super Bowl homecoming. Justin Bieber can leave even a room full of elite athletes, actors, and A-listers starstruck. The invite-only guest at Friday's first of two nights of a Super Bowl week party dubbed Homecoming Weekend crushed around a small stage in the round under a tent at the Pacific Design Center in West Hollywood, California, to get close to Bieber, who hopped, bopped, and shimmied through a 45-minute set as the evening headliner. The crowd included Jeff Bezos, his girlfriend, TV host Lauren Sanchez, Hamilton actor, Anthony Ramos, and NFL Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez. Most of the hands around the stage were holding phones in the air and filming. Some gleeful fans turned around to shoot selfies with Bieber, who wore a black skull cap, shades, a white hoodie, and a sparkling necklace as he boogied in the background. All right, Justin Bieber, you better do your thing. You know, Justin Bieber is, of course, a legend in some regards in the making. He's been at this since he was a child. I'm glad he's really getting his performance aspect up there. He's doing his thing. He's reaching out to a lot of audience. He has a hit song on Billboard with Kid Laroi, so he's doing his thing. You know, Justin Bieber has been a person of contention in the media a lot of times, so it's good to see there's some positive things going around about him, and he's, you know, hosting a big concert with a lot of big time people there. So I'm proud to see Justin Bieber doing his thing and making it the way he is. So this is a good thing, and I just wish Justin Bieber much success in the future. Maybe one day me and him will collaborate. Maybe, you never know. So we're gonna follow Justin Bieber and see how he's doing, you guys. And I'm glad to know that he was a part of this homecoming concert series, even though I'm sure the next day he didn't think Kodak Black was gonna get shot after one of his concerts. But that's another story for another day. So you guys, let me know what you think about Justin Bieber in the comments. Now, on to our next topic. Drake bets more than $1.25 million on 2022 Super Bowl. Wow. If Odell Beckham Jr. and LA have a big day on Sunday, February 13th, then Drizzy will have more than 1 million reasons to celebrate. Drake is pushing all-in-one on the Los Angeles Rams this weekend. The Toronto native revealed his 7-figure wagers on Sunday, February 13th, on Sunday's February 13th Super Bowl, in an Instagram post on Thursday, detailing 3 massive bets he's put down on the home team. According to the post, Drizzy is betting more than $1.25 million, which is a huge amount by any standard, but just a drop in the bucket compared to the $7.6 billion that will be wagered on the contest between the Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bitcoin bets break down to $472,364 for the Rams to win outright, which would pay out $713,244, $393,636 on wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. to put more than 62.5 receiving yards for a potential $712,457 payout, and $393,636 on Beckham scoring a touchdown, possibly with the $846,288 payout. So, you guys, this truly makes me believe that the NFL is rigged like everybody says that it is, because one, how Drake got the drop on all this. Now, if all this happens the way Drake bet, I'm really not going to believe the NFL no more. I'm really going to believe it's rigged, you guys. Because, you know, a lot of people have been saying it is, but I'm really going to believe it after this. So, this is just interesting, you guys. But Drake got it, so I ain't mad at him. He got the $1.25 million, so I ain't mad at him, but I just kind of feel like he know more than he's letting on, and that's why he's doing all this. So I ain't mad at him if he come up over $1 million. So, but I'm sure if he loses it, he'll be pissed, but it won't hurt him. So this is interesting, you guys. So let me know what you all think about it. Do y'all think the NFL is rigged? Do y'all think Drake already got the drop? Like, let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. And for our last piece of celebrity news, we have Britney Spears thought she had cancer and conservatorship's treatment was secret therapy for it. The pop star opened up in an Instagram post about depression and how her family made her feel during her conservatorship. Following her Maui vacation, Britney Spears is speaking out again and staying healthy after the end of a 13-year conservatorship that she says took a toll on her physically and mentally, including depression and what she thought might have been cancer. In a since-deleted Instagram post on Thursday, February 10th, Spears shared a lengthy statement via screenshots from her Notes app, first gushing over the private hidden caves and outside showers at the resorts she stayed at while in Hawaii. She then went on to note that she spent a lot of her trip focusing on her fitness and aiming to dedicate myself to it. That's the whole thing depression can keep you from doing. She added, of putting herself first. That was the whole thing when my family did what they did to me, holding me against my will, which they say was help. She continued that she does believe in help, but not arrogantly unasked for help, saying that the only thing honestly disturbing about me is depression, but you don't take people out of their homes for that. So yeah, this is interesting, y'all. It more and more just keeps coming out, y'all. And my heart goes out to everybody that is in a state of depression. I've been there myself, and I understand what it's like to bring yourself out of it. So, my heart is just going out to Britney Spears for what she's had to deal with, and I pray that she just continues to get better and get healthier. But this is just interesting, all this stuff that's been going on ever since her conservatorship has ended. So, I just hope that this situation just eventually just heals itself and Britney is still able to heal herself so that she can move forward into life and do all the things that she needs to do. So, you guys, let me know what you think about Britney Spears and these confessions in the comments. And we're going to go ahead and keep it moving right on to our next section. Alright guys, moving right on along, we're going to go to our straight from the gram, Instagram and Twitter world. So today we got 2 tweets and 1 Instagram post that I want to go over. So first and foremost, we have Keisha Lance Bottoms, who is the mayor or former mayor of Atlanta, Georgia. And she's saying, I am thrilled to officially announce that I have joined CNN as a political commentator. As a FAMU 1887 student, I applied for the coveted VJ program at CNN and didn't get in. To now join the team nearly 30 years later is a reminder that a dream deferred is never a dream denied. So, this is interesting to me, you guys. Keisha Lance Bottoms going from being a mayor to a CNN commentator. And I'm sure other people have done that, but this is interesting, you guys. So interesting to the point that I want to save this for spiritual perspectives and talk about this in the From the Headlines perspective section. So we're going to have to talk a little bit more about Keisha and her, leaving the office of mayor and going to be a CNN commentator. So on to our next tweet. So we got Ice-T saying Super Bowl weekend, not a threat, just a warning. Young rappers coming to LA for Super Bowl weekend. LA has over 50,000 active gang members. Make sure you play it safe. It's the Wild Wild West. Now this is very true. Ice-T, you said that, and, be it that I'm in LA very often, I will say that I've definitely ran into a lot of people that was eccentric, and be it that I'm from the South, from from Georgia. You know, I think it's very interesting, the dichotomy of the difference between the East and the West Coast, but not even just the East Coast that they think is like New York, but the West Coast and the South, particularly the East Coast South, like, you know, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina. You know, I think we just operate in two different ways, but I will say the guys that are into that whole gang life and all that stuff, they're very different over in LA. I think a lot of gang members have hearts, but you know, it's the dichotomy of the way that they act and the way that they carry themselves are a little different for me coming across these different types of people. But I will definitely say, even though in some regards I feel like a lot of LA quote unquote hard guys or gang members or whoever, like, you know, they can be pretty laid back and they like Southerners, and I feel like they like certain people. They tend to just gangbang people, in my opinion, that are from that area. Because like Ice-T said, it's the Wild Wild West. You know, it is what it is. But at the same time, they will, like, if it's somebody coming over there with the BS, they will see about it. So, you know, tell it to, you know, all these other people that have dealt with different things. You know, we had I don't know the whole situation with Pop Smoke or if it was gang related, but, you know, it's just been so many things. Even going back to the Tupac days, even though he claims to be from California, but he's really not from there. He's from the East Coast and he moved to California. So, you know, it's just an interesting dichotomy. But if I were a young rapper out there, I would definitely heed Ice-T's warning, because we never know what these gang guys have planned. You know, just play everything safe and just be safe and be genuine with people, because even though people are in a gang, that doesn't mean that has to be something that becomes an issue of contention or an issue of controversy or an issue of a problem to come between two individuals. So everybody just play it safe, as Ice-T said. And yeah, it's the Wild Wild West, whatever that means, but I think it's just more because y'all in the desert and y'all have lack of resources and water and stuff like that. So miss me with that as a Southerner and an East Coaster. Nah, I'm playing with y'all people. I love it out in LA. I love it out in California. It's a different atmosphere, different climate, but I've never had any issues and I don't plan on having them. And I respect all people, gang member or not, and I don't want no problems on the East Coast, in the South, or the West Coast. So, and I'm gonna leave that at that. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that one in the comments. And last but not least, we're going to go to the gram, see what's going on Instagram, and we're going to take a look at this Will Smith post. So he has just recently posted a lot of advertisements of him advertising the new show Bel-Air that's coming out, and I'm going to talk about this in television news soon. But he has a lot of trailers, it's a lot of different things that are coming out, like, you know, little highlights of all the characters. So, you know, I kind of looked into it. I looked at this one and a couple of other ones that he posted. And you guys, I wasn't the biggest Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fan, but I don't know if I'm going to be a fan of this new show, Bel-Air. Now, let me say one thing. The visuals are absolutely beautiful. The editing, the visuals, the cinematography, it looks beautiful. The character selections, the people they have playing these characters, I don't know. You know, I don't know about that, guys. I don't know any of these actors like that. I've seen several of them in different productions, but I don't know if I'm gonna buy into it. You know, but you know, it is what it is. Will doing his thing, working with this new production, and you know, I'm proud of my Libra brother for doing his thing and for spreading his wings and everything. And, you know, so on and so forth. But I'm not sure, you guys, about this new Bel-Air. I mean, it looks nice, but it just seems a little different. So I want you guys to go take a look at some of these things and tell me what you think about this new Bel-Air production in the comments, because I don't know, I might try to check it out. I'm sure a lot of people are going to watch it. It's going to get some good ratings, but I don't know. So you guys let me know what you think about all these quotes and everything from Twitter and the gram in the comments. All right, guys, moving right on along to our music news and releases. So, starting off first, I would like to pay tribute and acknowledgement to Leontyne Price. Leontyne Price, full name Mary Bryant Leontyne Price. Born on February 10th, 1927. Her birthday just passed and she is 95 years old, you guys. And Leontyne Price, if you don't know her, you need to look her up. You know, this is quote unquote Black History Month, so this is definitely a central and primary figure when it comes to the world of music, particularly classical music, that everyone should know about. So if you don't know who Leontyne Price is, she is an American soprano who was the first quote-unquote African-American soprano to receive international acclaim. From 1961, she began a long association with the Metropolitan Opera, where she was the first quote-unquote African-American to be a leading performer. She regularly appeared at the world's major opera houses, the Royal Opera House, San Francisco Opera, Lyric Opera of Chicago, and La Scala. The last one of which she was also the first quote-unquote African-American to perform and sing a leading role at. She was particularly renowned for her performances of the title role in Verdi's Aida. So you guys, Leontyne Price is someone near and dear to my heart. As you guys, I've said this a few times. I studied music in school. I studied classical music, opera, and we all knew all the other people that are quote-unquote Black or quote-unquote African-American. We all, knew about Leontyne Price and many of the other people that were singers that have paved the way for us, opera singers that paved the way for us in our heritage and in our similar background and ethnicity. So I just want to pay acknowledgement for her. Like, everybody went in for Betty White, so I'm going to go in for Leontyne Price, who is still here, still kicking it. She is an Aquarius, and she is making it, and we just give tribute and honor to her and all that she's done in this life ever since 1927, and we thank her for opening the doors that she's opened for many ethnic performers and composers in the world of opera to, she kicked that door open for us to follow behind her. It was very hard for her and very difficult in her career, being one of the first people of color in the space that she was in and the time that she was in. But we thank her for all that she's done, and we wish her a happy birthday and many more as long as she wants to be here. So, all right, moving on to our next thing. Let's take a look at what's going on with the new music releases. So when it comes to singles, it was a few things that I thought that I would check out. There was some interesting things I saw for single releases this week. We had Doja Cat with Celebrity Skin that I heard wasn't the best song, but I probably would still check that out. I'm not the biggest Doja Cat fan. I think she's kind of a gimmick. But I can't deny that she's not talented, but I mean, to me, in a lot of ways, anybody can put some words together on a track. Like 5-year-olds can do that now on GarageBand and, Logic and all these things. So I don't think she's that talented. I think she's a very good dancer. But when it comes to lyricism and music, I think she's kind of basic. I don't know what her musical studies have been, but her music is pretty good. It's okay to me, but I support her. She's my Libra sister, so I support her, of course. Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift came out with The Joker and the Queen, which is a big thing that everybody's been going in for. So it's going to be an interesting week next week on Billboard to see what's going on. Fabio Foreign, Kanye, and Alicia Keys released on Friday The City of Gods, which is another New York anthem, which was a very interesting thing. I heard it on The Breakfast Club when they premiered it, so that was interesting. It was a couple of other things by some less popular artists that came out. But another big artist that came out, two big artists, was Nicki Minaj with Bussin' with Lil Baby. So she has her second single and it's out, you guys. And these are some interesting singles. So, we got also Sweetie and her came out with Closer. I didn't listen to that. I'm not the biggest Sweetie fan, but for those of you who are into her, that's that. And The Dream came out with Alt J. So those are some interesting singles that I saw. It was some other ones, but not from any artists that I would listen to. But you guys go ahead and check those things out and tell me what you think about these songs in the comments. Moving right on along, you guys, to album releases. There were a lot of album releases this week. A lot of artists that I do not know. So I honestly, you guys, I can't say that I'm going to check out a lot of these things, but there were a couple of things as far as when it came to albums that I thought were interesting to highlight. Nina Simone, they've released her greatest hits remixes. It's called Feeling Good, her greatest hits and remixes. So Nina Simone, that's an interesting one that I would be interested in checking out. Mary J. Blige released Good Morning Gorgeous. So a lot of people have been talking about that, and of course she was strategically released there right before her Super Bowl performance. Jasmine Sullivan, Hotels, Motels, the deluxe version of her album has came out this past Friday. We got Jason Mraz, La 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 Love Songs, which was another interesting one that I think I might check out. And I'm going to check out it's a few others that I want to highlight here. We got Snot with Ethereal. This artist just recently released a single called Doja. So, everybody kind of went in for it because they thought he was talking about Doja Cat, but allegedly he wasn't, or something like that. So that's an interesting one that came out. We got Juicy J and Wiz Khalifa back at it again with Stoner's Night. That's their new album. I really like Wiz Khalifa and definitely Juicy J. I grew up on them, but even though they're classics to me, they're kind of has-beens, so I don't know, you guys, what if a lot of people will be listening to it, but for nostalgic reasons, I might check them out, most definitely. Now, a classic I will check out is my Libra brother Snoop Dogg, who just released Back on Death Row, which, we already talked about that, you guys, about how he owns Death Row now, so, that's interesting. He just released an album as well, and then I think that's about it, but we got some interesting things coming up in the next few weeks. So out of the singles and the albums, guys, what are you all gonna listen to this week? Did I not mention something that you're listening to? Let me know what you guys think about all these things in the comments, because it's a lot of music that came out, but not too much that I would listen to. But those are some of the highlights for me. So let me know what you guys are gonna be listening to this weekend. Let me know what you guys are gonna be doing and what you're looking forward to, and let me know all these things in the comments. Moving right on along, you guys, to the Billboard Charts. Let's see what's going on Billboard this week. So let's start taking a look right here at the Hot 100 singles. So number one, once again, we don't talk about Bruno, Encanto. So still the top single. Pretty much a lot of things on the top 10 have stayed stagnant this week. It's kind of been a repeat of last week. We still got Adele at number 2 with Easy on Me. We still got Heatwave at number 3 with Glass Animals. We still got Stay with Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber holding Stand Strong at number 4. We got Kodak Black. He's still up there in the top 5 right now with Super Gremlins. So the top 5 has been pretty much stagnant, you guys, since last week. We got Gayle. She's rising on the U.S. Billboard Top Hot 100. ABCDEFU. Ed Sheeran went down with Shivers. He was number 6 last week. He went down. Jessica Darrow came up with Surface Pressure. Pushin' P going down. That whole little fad of, Southern rap. They use it to hype up these record sales and, all this stuff. But then it lives in the top 10 for like a few weeks and then it goes down. So Pushin' P is slowly moving down. Dropped 2 points to number 9 this week. But Doja Cat, our good biracial hip-hop / pop artist, is moving up. So, we're seeing the politics at play on the Billboard. So Need to Know has moved back up to number 10. So, it's kind of a different lineup this week. Some things have moved down. Elton John, Dua Lipa, they moved down. Lil Nas X, He's down. Silk Sonic's down. Dua Lipa by herself. So, you know, it's interesting. It's been some interesting movement on the Hot 100 charts, guys, when it comes to the singles. So let's take a look at the Billboard 200 for albums. Number 1, Encanto. Number 1, Encanto has been taking everybody out, you guys. So it's been on the chart for 10 weeks now, you know. So Encanto is doing its thing. Dawn FM, The Weeknd is at number 2. He done moved up, you guys. And like he done took Gunna on down to number 3. But Gunna has kind of stayed stable at number 3. I think he was above The Weeknd last week with Jackass Forever. But now he's stable at number 3. But still moving down. Dangerous Double, Morgan Wallen, moved up to number 4 this week. Young Boy Never Broke Again. He went down from number 2. He was a little popular the other week to number 5, but he's kind of going back down. Adele's holding steady on the album 200 with 30 at number 6. Drake's holding steady at number 7 with Certified Lover Boy. So that's been, Certified Lover Boy has really been staying, you know, they've been on the chart for 22 weeks. So Drake has been doing his thing. The Weeknd, The Highlights, been on the charts for 51 weeks, and that's holding steady, still in the top 10 for Billboard 200 albums at number 8. And we got Doja Cat at number 9. She moved up to number 9 with Planet Her. And Olivia Rodrigo moved into the top 10 this week, which she's already been in the top 10 before, because she's been on the charts for 37 weeks, but she's back up in the top 10 with Sour. So Taylor Swift is still in the top 20, you know. NLE Choppa actually just came onto the charts this week. He's number 14 with Me Versus Me, so that's interesting. We got The Grateful Dead with Days Picks, Volume 41 this week came in number 13, so that was another interesting. Juice WRLD still holding strong at number 15. Kid Leroy's F Love album is moving back up, so, you know, Pop Smoke is moving back up too. He's number 20, so we got some interesting movement with that in the Billboard 200 albums. Let's take a look here at the Global 200. Global 200 singles. We don't talk about Bruno, you know, and Encanto's still doing their thing, you know what I mean? Gail, they took Gail out because she was number 1 last week, so Gail went down with ABCDEFU to number 2. Heat Waves by Glass Animals moves up. Dua Lipa moves down with Elton John with Cold Heart Remix down to number 4. Stay by Kid Leroy is number 5 still. Imagine Dragons is moving up with Enemy. Adele's finally kind of slipping a little bit, you know. She's down at number 7 with Easy on Me. You know, she's been dominating, but, you know, she's been slowly moving down. Shivers with Ed Sheeran is holding at number 8. Surface Pressure by Jessica Darl at number 9. And Lil Nas X Industry Baby is moving up globally on the Global 200 singles. So we got some interesting things. Pushin' P is moving down for the global singles to number 12. They was up globally last week, so, you know, it's interesting. So we got some interesting movement on the global charts. And last but not least, we have the Artist 100. The Artist 100. So at number 1, we have The Weeknd, who was already on the artist boards beating Gunna anyway, you know, when they first released together, but he's back to number 1. He was just at number 2 last week. Adele moved down to number 2 in the Artist 100. Ed Sheeran moved up this week to number 3. Doja Cat is up this week to number 4 on the Artist 100. Taylor Swift then moved back up into this thing. She's number 5. Drake's moving up to number 6. We almost got dang near new lineup. The Grateful Dead has re-entered the top 10 for artists. So they just re-entered this week at number 7. Morgan Wallen is up at number 8. Luke Combs is up at number 9. And Justin Bieber is up at number 10. So everybody is pretty much, the only person that kind of moved down in the top 20 was Youngboy, NBA Youngboy. He moved down to number 17 when he was number 4 last week. So we got some interesting movement on the chart. So you guys, what do you think about this? Is this what you guys are listening to? Is this a proper reflection on what's going on lifetime in the world as far as the popularity of these artists and whatnot? Let me know what you think about the Billboard charts for this past week in the comments. All right, guys, moving right on along to our film and television releases for the week. So starting off with film and television, we got Jackass Forever laughs its way to #1 at the box office. So Jackass, you guys, has came up at the box office. Not even a global pandemic or 12-year hiatus could stop the Jackass guys at the box office. Jackass Forever, the fourth movie in the Anarchic series, earned $23.5 million in ticket sales in its first weekend in theaters, according to studio estimates Sunday. It not only exceeded expectations, but also easily bested its other main competitors, the big-budget sci-fi spectacle Moonfall and Spider-Man No Way Home, which has 6 of its 8 weeks in theater at number one. Jackass Forever brings back Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, Chris Pontius, and Wee Man for another round of pranks, stunts, and injuries, and has become the best reviewed in the series, playing on 3,604 screens in North America. Jackass Forever is one of the lower end of Jackass openings, above only the first, which made $22.8 million in its opening weekend in 2002. The biggest opening of the series was the last one for Jackass 3D's $50 million debut in 2010, but costing only $10 million to produce. Jackass Forever is already a clear success for Paramount. The studio was predicting a launch in the mid-teens. So that is very interesting. Men accounted for 68% of the R-rating Jackass Forever audience, and 67% were between the 18 and 34 age range. Both Scream and Jackass Forever had very long lag times between installments, and absence made the heart grow fonder for Jackass, said Paul Dergarabedian, the senior media analyst for ComScore. So yeah, you guys, Jackass is hitting it apparently for some of these people out here in these streets. So that's interesting. Estimated ticket sales for Friday through Sunday at the U.S. and Canadian theaters, according to ComScore. Final domestic figures will be released on Monday, but what they're saying is Jackass was #1, Moonfall was #2, Spider-Man was #3, Scream was #4, Sing 2 was #5, The King's Man was #6, Redeeming Love was #7, American Underdog was #8, The 355 was #9, and The Wolf and the Lion was #10, you guys. So, did you guys go see Jackass? Did you guys go see it? You know, I'm not really a big fan of watching it. I'm too empathic to watch that type of stuff because I don't want to be feeling those pains and cricks in my body personally from that type of situation. So, you know, I don't know about that one, but that's what's going on, you guys. So let me know what you think about Jackass and give me your review in the comments. So let's go ahead and see what's opening this week in movie theaters, you guys. So we got Uncharted, Dog with what's the guy name? I can't even remember the guy's name. The guy from Magic Mike. You guys know who I'm talking about. He actually just opened up Dog on Friday. So Channing Tatum, that's his name, Channing Tatum. Also, Channing Tatum is also in a re-release of Magic Mike, the Galentine's Day. So in select theaters, it's showing, and it opened on Friday, you guys. The Curse just came out. Pursuit, King Knight, Strawberry Mansion, Genius, a Kanye trilogy just came out on Netflix, you guys. So are you guys gonna watch that one? What else do we got? We got the Royal Opera House is releasing on Monday. They're releasing the ballet Romeo and Juliet, which is a very popular ballet. We got Knoxville horror film coming out on Monday too. Incarnation, that just came out. Virgin Story, A Fairy Tale After All, Terror Trips, Ambulance, Finding Carlos, and Streamline. So we got some interesting movies that just came out this week, you guys. So what are you guys going to check out over the weekend? What are you guys going to look at? Let me know what you guys are thinking about all these titles in the comments. And last but not least, we have our television releases coming up this week, you guys. So it's kind of a boring week for TV for me. I don't really watch a lot of TV anyway, but let's take a look and see what's coming out. Well, I see Inventing Anna on Netflix is definitely coming out. Everything's Gonna Be All White coming out on HBO. 2521, that's coming out on Netflix. Bel-Air, which we talked about, Will Smith been doing a lot of advertising for this, coming out on Sunday. We got the Puppy Bowl before the Super Bowl. Puppy Bowl starts at 2 p.m. Super Bowl, of course, on Sunday. Aftertaste on Acorn TV will be coming out. Frontline American Reckoning on PBS at 10 p.m. is coming out. We have Dr. Pimple Popper, coming out on TLC Wednesday, February 16th. The Making of Eternals, Disney Plus, talking about the movie Eternals. Disney Plus is releasing that on Wednesday, February 16th. Paramount Plus is releasing Big Nate. And what else? The Cuphead show on Netflix is coming out. Lincoln's Dilemma on Apple TV on Friday. Both of those are coming out. The Marvelous Miss Maisel on Prime Video coming out on the 18th. Shock Docs, Alien Abduction, Betty and Barney Hill on Discovery Plus coming out on Friday the 18th. The Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse coming out on Disney Plus on the 18th. And Painting with John coming out at 11 p.m. on HBO on February 18th. So we got an interesting week on TV too, you guys, and all the networks, the app networks. So let me know what you guys are checking out in the comments. Let me know what you guys are excited to see as far as film and television in the comments. Let me know your reviews. Let me know if I missed anything, the whole nine. So let me know what's going on, guys, in the comments. All right, guys, moving right on along to our world news segment. Guys, when I tell you this week has been crazy, it's been so much going on around the world when it comes to just the Winter Olympics, all these protests and all kinds of things. To be honest, it's so much going on. I couldn't even pick what I wanted to report, and I didn't want to have you guys on this podcast all day and all night. But it's just so much going on. So I'm sure you guys have heard a lot of things in the news. But here are a few things that I'm going to go ahead and cover when it comes to world news. So we're going to go ahead and start off with U.S. news. So basically, the GOP pushes U.S. schools to post all class material online, you guys. The Republican state lawmakers across the U.S. are trying to require schools to post all course material online so parents can review them. Part of a broader national push by the GOP for a sweeping Parents' Bill of Rights ahead of the midterm congressional elections. At least one proposal would give parents with no expertise power over curriculum choices. Parents also could file complaints about certain lessons and in some cases sue school districts. Teachers say parents already have easy access to what their children learn. They worry that the mandates would create an unnecessary burden and potentially threaten their professional independence, all while dragging them into a cultural war. The bill insinuates there's some hiding happening, said Katie Peters, a high school English teacher in Toledo. It makes me a little defensive because I'm like, no, wait a minute, we're not hiding anything. The transparency is always there, and the parents who have cared to look have always had access. You guys, this is a very interesting subject because it's just so much going on right now in the education world. Teachers are really clapping back about their salaries, about just how much regulations they have. And this is just, to me, in a lot of ways, furthering the fact that a lot of education is just going to go online, and because we know, honestly, the educational field only trains employees. It doesn't really fully train people to do what it is that they want to do. It doesn't, like, I was a music major in school, and I can't say education has the educational world or college or high school really helped me get into that beyond being a music educator. But it's just very interesting, you guys. Charlamagne the guy on the Breakfast Club just gave some teacher donkey of the day for some weird like sex educational course that was going on for middle schoolers. Like, it was very unusual. You guys got to check out the Breakfast Club donkey of the day that day. It was something about sexual desires and pizzas, and it was just real crazy. So it is a lot of things going on as far as programming in the school systems, and we have to be mindful. All parents should be mindful of what their children are learning, but at the end of the day, children are only learning what their parents learned, maybe in a new age way. But the educational world is just training employees, you guys. So, I think all of this is unnecessary. I think the whole educational realm needs to overhaul. It needs to start over. Maybe the world should go to, people being educated from home, because it's just not working the way it's supposed to right now, you guys. So, you got to let me know what you guys think about that in the comments, and tell me if you think that, should all the course material be online, or is all this unnecessary like the teacher was saying? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Moving right on along to our next topic. Many faith leaders wary of religious exemptions for vaccines. By the thousands, Americans have been seeking religious exemptions in order to circumvent COVID-19 vaccine mandates. But generally, they are doing so without the encouragement of major denominations and prominent religious leaders. From the Vatican, Pope Francis has defended the vaccines as the most reasonable solution to the pandemic. The Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of America declared categorically that its followers would not be offered religious exemptions. Robert Jeffress, the conservative pastor of a Baptist megachurch in Dallas, voiced similar sentiments. Since there is no credible biblical argument against vaccines, we have refused to offer exemptions to the handful of people who have requested them, Jeffress told the Associated Press via email. People may have strong medical or political objections to government-mandated vaccines, but just because those objections are strongly felt does not elevate them to a religious belief that one should be accommodated. Rabbi Shalom Lipskar of the Shul in Bal Harbor, an Orthodox synagogue in Surfside, Florida, says he tells the congregation members that vaccination should be a matter of free choice. But I always recommend that they get medical opinions from a competent professional, he added. In a serious matter, they should get 2 concurring medical opinions. You guys, this is so interesting because, the Catholic Church, and well, it's funny because even within the Catholic Church, there are bishops that are definitely saying that they are giving vaccine exemptions, religious vaccine exemptions, and also some that are not. But most of the religions are supporting vaccines. So when I thought it was a separation of church and state, that's interesting. I also do know that the government apparently has made some organization that's tracking within the government people that are doing religious exemptions for the vaccine, and are also cataloging the religions, which I think is very weird that the government would do all that to figure out what religion you're a part of. This is just getting very interesting to me, you guys. I personally do have a religious exemption because I'm a pantheist, so I have many religions, but most of the spiritual based religions that I am, they're individually based. So one person might not need to get the vaccine and one person might need to. So, they could get a religious exemption, especially if you're a part of indigenous spiritual communities and spiritual religions. So, keep that in mind. And I'm not telling people to use that as a cheat code, but, there are religious exemptions for people that are spiritualists and in spiritualist religions. But, this thing is just getting very interesting to me, how political the church is getting. And yeah, we're dealing with medicine, and yeah, people should get medical opinions, but in all balance and all fairness, medicine and science has not provided answers for every single thing on this planet. They've cured a lot of things in science and medicine. We've made a lot of progress as a humanity with that realm of our existence, but it's not a cure-all for everything. So that at the end of the day, for a lot of people, you know, these vaccines have came out much quicker than any other vaccine in all time in recorded history, and people just aren't comfortable. So you guys, I just believe that if people want to get an exemption, whether it's religious or otherwise, that they just should be able to. But it's just this weird dichotomy of, you know, the government and these corporations mandating that people get vaccinations, even though things are different. I saw a lot of news talking about how, like, you know, they're lifting the mask mandates, and how in many states, and how, you know, the most vulnerable are still, you know, can still be affected, but people are just not going for it anymore, you guys. So I don't know, you guys. What do you all think about this religious exemption stuff? Do you think that the church is getting too political? Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. All right, guys, segueing from the U.S. news to our world news, we have kind of a bridge connector, because this deals with world news, but it also deals with United States as well. But we're still dealing in North America because, as you all have heard about already, there has been some issues between the U.S. border and Canada. So this deals with kind of both. So this is world and U.S. news. So as you guys know, there's a blockade on the Canada-U.S. border, and it's a lot of protests going on out there. Protesters opposed to COVID-19 vaccine mandates and other restrictions withdrew their vehicles from a key U.S.-Canadian border bridge Saturday, though access remained blocked, while other demonstrators ramped up in the cities across Canada, including the capital, where police said they were awaiting more officers before ending what they described as an illegal occupation. So you guys, there's been a lot of protests going on in Canada, and they've literally been blocking the bridge from Canada to the U.S. border in Michigan. So here is a news article from a Detroit news station talking about more about this, and I'm gonna let you guys hear this, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more about this in just a second. But take a listen and a watch to this news article right here.
A huge mess. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see truckers right now just backed up for miles all along Detroit. We're on 4th Street right now. My photographer Aaron Bryant showing you right now. You can see the hazard lights on. These trucks have not moved since we got here, probably about an hour ago. So we're going to kind of look around, and he's going to pan over and show you. Parked all the way down. A lot of very frustrated people. We're hearing a lot of horns honking. We're at some times seeing trucks just turn around and going the opposite way. As you're saying that, of course, this happened around 5 o'clock. Take a look at some video right now that we did get earlier in the day. Around 5 o'clock today, 4 o'clock, this is when things started to really go haywire. So as you said at the top of the show, what happens? All the protesters on the Canadian side upset about COVID mandates. Basically, they shut down the entrance into Canada. So great, the truckers get over, but then they can't get in. So of course you just close down the bridge entirely, but then everyone is stuck out here for hours, and you can't take the tunnel because the trucks can't go through the tunnel because they're too big. So then if you reroute all the way to the Blue Water Bridge in Port Huron, that's a very long way from here. So right now we are just seeing, well, here comes someone driving by. They downriver for veterans, I think is what that said, but honking their horn obviously in support right now. Take a listen to a couple of the truckers that we did talk to earlier tonight.
Like, okay, you are doing protests, do it, but don't block other people, you know. Even teacher doing protests on the sidewalk, other people do protests on the sidewalk, not blocking traffic.
And the truckers have been going for 2 years without spreading it. They're not big spreaders. Why all of a sudden are they adding more stuff, more requirements to the truckers?
So, you know, as I said, a big mess out here. I don't know how long people are going to stay out here. Obviously, they can't get over to the Canadian side. Are they going to just stick it out? Will this end tonight? Will this go into tomorrow? Really, a lot of questions, not a lot of answers. But of course, we're going to stay on top of it and bring you the latest as soon as we get it. Live in Detroit, Camille and Mary, Fox 2 News.
All right, Camille, thank you.
As you can see, guys, this is a mess. So this video is dated from February 7th. So I think this was a little bit before a lot more information came out about what was actually going on, what the truckers were doing, what was going on with the protests and all those things. So let's get a little bit more into what started all this and everything. So how did the protest start? Much of it can be tied to anger against the Trudeau and Liberal Party politicians who have been prime minister since 2015 and is loathed by the many conservatives, particularly in the western province of Alberta, the most conservative in the country of Canada. In 2019, well before the current protests, demonstrators drove a convoy of hundreds of trucks from Western Canada to Ottawa in opposition of the Trudeau's government's new carbon tax and environmental measure they said will hurt the oil industry. So this has been going on for a while, you guys. So what did they want? Convoy organizers said they were moved to protest by a federal government requirement that truck drivers be fully vaccinated if they want to avoid a 14-day quarantine upon re-entry from the United States. However, it's a bilateral measure, with the U.S. imposing the same rule on January 22nd, meaning that even if Canada ended the restrictions, it would make no practical difference. The demonstration in Ottawa, Ontario, and elsewhere are primarily demanding to end all COVID-19 vaccine mandates and other restrictions, including mask requirements, though most of those were put in place by provincial governors. Protesters have called for Trudeau's resignation. So who's involved? The Freedom Convoy was announced in early January by a group called the Canada Unity, which was founded by James Barter, a supporter of the QAnon conspiracy theories. Also, I think it's called QAnon. I don't know how to say that, you guys, but QAnon conspiracy theories. Also involved are Tamara Lich, who previously belonged to the far-right Maverick Party, which calls for Western Canada to become independent, and a former member of Trudeau's Royal Canadian Mounted Police Security Detail. Few actual commercial trucks are a part of the blockade at the Ambassador's Bridge. Ontario Premier Doug Ford said Friday that the last count he had was 5 of them, with the rest being personal cars. 99% of the truckers are working their backs off. This is about political statement. That is what it's about. So what has the response been? Trudeau has stood firm against lifting vaccine mandates, calling the protesters a fringe who believe in conspiracy theories and wear tinfoil hats. That has only incensed them further. The protests have also been widely condemned by truckers and trucking groups. That includes the Canadian Trucking Alliance, which says the vast majority of drivers are fully vaccinated, in line with the country's broader population. Pandemic restrictions have been far stricter in Canada than in the United States, but Canadians have largely supported them. The country has less hospital capacity, so provinces have been quick to impose lockdowns when infections rise. Canada's COVID-19 death is 1/3 of that of the United States. What's happening in Ottawa? Thousands of protesters initially descended on the city 2 weeks ago. Their numbers have declined, but more than 400 trucks remain parked in front of the Parliament buildings, along with a makeshift kitchen. Demonstrations have largely been peaceful but offensive to many Canadians. Some protesters parked and urinated on the National War Memorial, and Confederate flags with swastikas have been seen. A statue of Terry Fox, a national hero who set off on a fundraising trek across Canada after losing a leg to cancer, was draped with an upside-down Canadian flag and a sign reading "Mandate Freedom." Many protesters carry signs or flags with obscene insults reflecting Trudeau. You guys, this is a mess. This is a whole mess. I mean, trucks can't get in and out of the U.S. going to Canada over there, Michigan. This is a mess, y'all. Like, this is a mess. Like, I don't even know where to start. Like, I really want to know what you guys' comments are, because this was a long segment. Honestly, I don't really have an opinion on it because it's just so much, y'all. It's just so much. It's so much going on, y'all. I just, as they would say in the church, Jesus be offense, Jesus take the wheel, all those good things. Cause y'all, this is getting crazy out here in these streets. But I want to talk about this energy a little bit of all these things too going on in the astrology section, because this is also planetary energy going on right now as well. So let me know what you guys think about all these protests and whether you are for or against the vaccine mandates in Canada and here in the US or not. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. Moving right on along to our next topic. More protests, you guys. More protests going on around the world. So Paris police fire tear gas to disperse ban virus protests. Paris, and we're talking about Paris, France, you guys. Paris police fired tear gas Saturday against a handful of demonstrators on the Champs-Élysées Avenue who defied a police order by taking part in a vehicle protest against virus restrictions inspired by Canada's horn-honking truckers. In the Netherlands, dozens of trucks and other vehicles ranging from tractors to a car towing and camping van arrived in The Hague for a similar virus-related protest Saturday, blocking an entrance to the historic Dutch parliamentary complex. But a threatened blockade of Paris failed to materialize Saturday, despite days of online organizing efforts. Police set up checkpoints into the French capital on key roads and said they successfully stopped at least 500 vehicles from heading to the banned protest, but a few dozen vehicles were able to slip in and disrupt traffic on the boutique line Champs-Élysées. Authorities fired tear gas as they demanded that the demonstrators disperse, some of whom climbed onto their vehicles in the middle of the roads to create chaos. Y'all, this is crazy. They said an Associated Press photographer was hit in the head with a tear gas canister as police struggled to control the crowd. Police at the scene were growing increasingly tense and fired the tear gas as the several photographers took photos of the officers kicking and subduing a protester. You guys, this energy, you guys, it's crazy. I'm going to talk about this in the astrology section because this has a lot to do with this Aquarian rebel energy in the sun being in Aquarius, and the reckoning of our life cycles from the Saturn being in Aquarius too. So, and then all this Capricorn energy on top of that. So that we have going on. So y'all, this is a whole mess. All these protests going on around the world. I don't even know what to say right now, you guys. Like, I really want to know what you guys' opinion are on the vaccine mandates around the world. We got the Netherlands, we got Paris, we got Canada. And it's funny because, Canada has a lot of French colonies. So, there's a tie-in right there between all those people. But they're not having it, you guys. They're not going for none of this. So I'm just interested to know what you guys think about this, because this is a whole mess right now, what's going on around the world. So let me know what you guys think about all this stuff in the comments. Alright guys, so moving right on along, we're going to move on to our spiritual perspective section. And it's a lot to consider this week in our spiritual perspectives. I'm going to talk a little bit about this in the astrology portion and talk about the energy, coming from the planetary energy. And we're also going to talk about a couple of things in the meme analysis as well as from the headlines, because I think it's a little bit more of a spiritual perspective of things going on and some interplay that's happening right now when it comes to a lot of things that we're looking at in the news and media and just many things that are just going on around us. So let's take a look here at the from the headlines portion of spiritual perspectives. So first up, we got Keisha Lance Bottom's tweet where she said she's joining CNN as a political commentator. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this just seems really interesting to me. I think more is at play here. And is, Keisha Lance Bottoms, as they would say, an agent, a double agent, posing to be working for the people, but yet still politically and undercover doing things for bigger entities? Or, as some people would call her an op, because this just seems very weird. You know, the first thing, and I just want to point this out, the first thing we have, you know, was her telling the people to go home during the pandemic. You know, that sparked a lot of controversy, especially for people that are native to Atlanta, because they already didn't feel like she was doing a whole lot, you know, for them. But, you know, people in Atlanta weren't going for a lot of the things in the pandemic, and, you know, they were tearing up the city, which I would say, I don't believe it was a lot of quote-unquote black people doing that, but people were. But she was telling them to go home. But, you know, it looked kind of strange, because if people were trying to protest, why would you, if you're in support of the people that put you in office, why would you be telling them to go home? Secondly, we have her support of the police after the incident in Atlanta where the police killed the guy at the Wendy's off of Metropolitan or wherever that was in Atlanta. So that was just interesting. And, you know, her endorsement into spending the city funds on these big police complexes and all these other things. That was just, you know, kind of a second strike. You know, now a little minor thing was when she posted that macaroni and cheese, and everybody was coming for her. Like, you know, like, you know, everybody was like, girl, what kind of macaroni and cheese is that? And then, you know, she tried to defend herself, but people wasn't having it. So that was just another thing. Then the next year she tried to say, well, I stayed in my lane this year. And this was all during, these were two different Thanksgivings. And the next year she said, well, I stayed in my lane this year and I just made sweet potato pie. But even that wasn't looking all that. So now, you know, we got that. We got all these things. And now another thing to point out, she was at one point being considered a vice presidential candidate, like before Kamala Harris was put in office, you know, was suggested. You know, she was considered a vice presidential candidate along with Stacey Abrams and all these other people that some people consider double agents or agents of, you know, the cabals or whatever, these groups of people that want to push their agendas. And now we have her working for CNN, which is almost like, I don't know, is this like some kind of way her retirement or something? I don't know, guys. This just seems very unusual to me. All of her actions just seems like there's something else at play, and that she has a handler, as they would say, or somebody that's suggesting maybe it's a big corporation that funds her. I don't know. It just seems very unusual to me, you guys. I don't know how many mayors go from being mayor to a CNN commentator or a political commentator. I can't say for a fact whether that's common or not, but this just seems unusual. And CNN is in Atlanta. You know, it's just like, so now, and a lot of people aren't really happy with Keisha Lance Bottoms and the things that she's done as mayor of Atlanta, and now she's going to CNN. So I don't know. Am I reading too deep into that, you guys? You guys gotta let me know in the comments. What do you think about that? I mean, I know a lot of people support her because she's like, you know, she went to FAMU. She's a quote-unquote black woman. She's part of sororities and all kinds of organizations. But you guys, I just don't know about that one. So let me know if I'm reading too deep into it, or if you all agree with what I'm saying and you think it's more to the story. And, you know, Keisha may have a handler, or she might be an agent, or she might be an op or something like that, you know. Let me know what you guys think, if it's something underneath the surface of that information that we can look into. Now, moving right on along to the next thing. So let's take a look at this. Many faith leaders wary of religious exemptions for vaccines. Now, this is what I want to point out when it comes to this. Is there a separation of church and state, or is there not? Because when it comes to a lot of these organizations, it seems that they're backing the state. They're backing the government. Now, in spiritual traditions, whether they're religions, whether they're popular religions, whether they're things that are more family or regional or culturally oriented, I believe that the quote-unquote spirit speaks to all the individuals. So if people's spirit tells them that this isn't right, why is the church, being a religious institution, not listening to that, but 100% listening to the government and quote-unquote their scientists? That's just very confusing for me, you guys. Like, I can't tell when it comes to a lot of these churches and a lot of these religions that are supporting and backing the state, who is their God? Is it God or the state? Do they have spiritual convictions, or is it just convictions from the government who's giving them tax write-offs? Like, I'm not sure, you guys. This just seems very unusual. And I just want to point this out for all of those that are going with whatever the church is saying. I think that a lot of times we have to realize that it could very well be the case that the church, for whatever reasons, whether it's the tax incentives, whether it's the money, whether it's the 501c3 corporation status that they have, whatever it is, or nonprofit status rather, whatever it is that they have, are they backing the state more than they're backing the spirit, or the spirit of God, or the spirit of the people, or what the people's spiritual convictions are? Now, I personally believe that if people feel like they want to be exempt from it, they should need a religious exemption. But I don't understand why religion would wholeheartedly support the state and the government, but not support the people that make up their religion and their convictions against it. That's just very confusing for me. And I don't think that the religious leaders that are choosing to back the government, I just don't know how much spirit is involved in that, or if there's some other motive like money or cooperations or threats behind things. I just don't know, you guys. And I just wanted to point that out when it came to these faith-based leaders and them not wanting to give religious exemptions. Now, there are some faith-based leaders that are, so I don't want to take that away from them. But, you know, I just think it's interesting and something to note out. So what do you guys think? What you guys tell me what you think on this subject in the comments, because, you know, I don't know if these religions are being, you know, in the spirit of religion is in the way that, you know, they propose to be. So let me know what you guys think about all this stuff in the comments. Moving right on along, you guys, into our meme analysis. So I got at least one funny one and two other ones that are really good. So let's go ahead and start with our first meme analysis. So this says, I don't believe in tithing because Jesus paid it all. Which I think is hilarious, you guys. But the reason why I put this one in here, because I do think it's funny, and I've seen this being circulated on social media, and it's more of a joke, obviously. But, you know, I think it is a good point and interesting to point out how much the church requires tithes and offerings. And I know it's biblical standing to this, and I do know things cannot run for free. But the commercialization of the church and the drastic measures they take to convict people about tithes and offering is just so, you know, in some ways a little ridiculous to me, you guys. So I kind of look at this, of course, being a funny meme in a lot of ways, but I also look at it as a way of looking, you know, kind of like, you know, constructive criticism. Like, you know, if Jesus paid it all, why do y'all need more money from me? Y'all already get money from the state to operate, like from taxes and everything. Why do you need more money? Like, you know, I don't get it. So, but you know, you guys got to tell me what you think about this in the comments. I know it's plenty of Bible scriptures for those that believe solely in the Bible, but don't forget there are people that don't believe in the Bible. Please don't forget that. But you know, I know that's the authority for many people, so I get it. But, you know, I kind of stand by this. I don't believe in tithing because Jesus paid it all. So let me know what you guys think about that one in the comments. Next up, we have the next meme, which is a picture of two rabbits. One is standing by kind of like a long stem. It looks really big, like it's growing a really big vegetable. And the other one is standing by a short stem, and he's kind of looking confused, like, wow, his stem looks really big. Like, you know, it's like, you know, they're kind of comparing and contrasting, and they're showing up under the soil that the one with the small stem, it says having skills, and it's a huge carrot. And the one with the large stem, it says having a degree, and it's a little carrot. So I think that this is a very interesting thing, and it's even interesting how the rabbits are looking. Like the one with the big stem, he's like, you know, look at me, I'm the big dog, I got this big stem, so I know I'm gonna have all this stuff. And the other one's kind of looking sad and confused, not realizing that rabbit has the bigger treasure up under the soil. So I think this is very interesting in the aspect of having skills and having a degree. Now, me personally, I have multiple degrees, but I've never looked down upon anyone that didn't have any degrees. And I always definitely looked up to people that had skill sets. You know, it wasn't until I was older that I wish I had learned certain skills that were, you know, ancestrally taught in my family. You know, I come from a family of brick masons and carpenters, and just even other skills that are unionized, where they get paid way higher salaries in a lot of instances than a lot of jobs that require just a basic degree. Now, my degrees, you know, I operate in my degree by aspect of being an artist and a producer, but that's not particularly what my degree trained me for. But somebody with a music performance degree, that's what they would go into, is, you know, in performance, unless they were going to go back into education, you know, which you need a lot of education to be a music educator. But at the same time, like, you know, it's just very interesting how all that goes. You know, so I kind of stand in agreement with this meme. Like, having skills sometimes is a way bigger carrot than having a degree. I'm not saying in every aspect, but, you know, I think in a lot of aspects, even when it comes to the medical field, like, you know, nurses they're not doing everything a neurosurgeon or like the big time surgeons are doing that they go and get degrees for, but they're the backbone of the medical industry is nurses, you know. So, you know, and a lot of them don't have to go particularly to get a nursing degree. There are other ways to get to that level. You know, you have CNA, you know, you have all these different other levels that you can go through. So those could be considered skills as opposed to having a degree. So that's something interesting that I want you guys to think about, and tell me what you think about this particular meme in the comments. And the last one is a quote. A quote meme, I guess you can say. So I hate to say, guys, I don't really know who this lady is. I don't know if she actually made the quote or whatever, but I've seen this quote being circulated around social media in so many different ways, and, you know, people just quote it and put it in their messages and everything. But this says, the moral of the story is, go where you are celebrated, not where you are tolerated. Go where you are celebrated, not where you are tolerated. And, you know, this is a mindset that I've adapted for a while. Like, you know, I've definitely been somebody that didn't need groups of people. But that's kind of the reason why I never really needed groups of people to validate me. I joined things and joined groups, like, you know, when I was in school and when I was a child and things like that, just because it was something to do. But as an adult, I don't really run in big circles. I only spend my time with the few people that I feel truly celebrate all that I am, instead of just tolerating me. Because being in groups, you know, I realized that a lot of people don't always care for you, and they just, and like this is saying, tolerating you. And then you have to remember, a lot of people have that mindset of keep your enemies closer type thing, and people try to get to know you. And I'm a genuine person, so I don't do that. So, but I've definitely been a victim of keep your friends closer and your enemies closer, because people tried to get close to me to know more things about me in order to, you know, render negative things. So, you know, it is what it is. Everybody is who they are. Like, you know, I've fallen out with people, quote unquote, and I've just separated myself from people, quote unquote. And, you know, it didn't really have anything to do with me disliking them or not even celebrating who they are, because I celebrate everybody. And that's why I only go where I'm celebrated, because I celebrate the people that I'm around. But I don't want to celebrate people that just tolerate me. Like, you know, people that I'm no longer around anymore, I have no issues with them. Like, you know, I know many things about many people, good, bad, and indifferent. I don't believe that it is my place to tell their business, but I do believe that it is my place to decide if they're for me and my character or not. And in a lot of instances, most of them aren't. You know, people prostrate themselves as whoever they want to be. They wear the mask of whoever they are for whoever will receive that. But I don't wear any mask. I am who I am. And a lot of people can't take that. So, but many people can. And my close friends definitely can, and my family and the people that I deal with, they definitely can. So I choose to go where I'm celebrated, not where I'm tolerated. So do you guys do that? Or are you just around places where they're just tolerating you? And are you just tolerating other people? I wonder. Let me know what you guys think about this meme and all the other ones that we've talked about in the comments. Moving right on along to the astrology portion of our program here at Oba Omi Says. As you guys can see, we are still in Aquarius season. We have a few more days in Aquarius season before we change over to Pisces season. So Aquarius is enjoy the rest of your time. As we all can see as well, the chart really hasn't moved that much in the bigger planets. A lot of this has been kind of stagnant, kind of the same right now. The moon has moved, but I'm not going to go over as much as the planetary energy as I usually do. If you would like to know more, please go back and look at last week's episode, because the planets are pretty much in the same positions with the exception of the moon, which I'm going to go over. But I am going to briefly go over all the planets, and we're going to talk about the moon phase and everything that we usually do. So as you guys know, the sun is still in Aquarius. We still have the Aquarian energy going on, representing our interpersonal purpose and our inner drive. We're exploring the Aquarian energy, and this is how we're exuding these things as we're dealing with people and kind of the overall energy on the planet right now. The Aquarian, altruistic, friendly, humanitarian energy. Also, just be careful for the erratic, the eccentric, and the impersonalness and the rebellion. That's funny because, when I was, it's been building up with these protests and everything. It's so many protests going on around the world, but that is the Aquarian energy. Also, Saturn is in Aquarius, which I'm not going to go over a whole lot, but this is a time of reckoning, and we're seeing that a lot. I spoke about it in the rest of the program. I've talked about the protests in Canada, things going on around the world. There's just so many things being sparked around the world where they're taking the rebellious energy of Aquarius, and on the flip side, the government and these bigger entities that are basically getting these protests, they're taking the Aquarian big brother approach. So, we got the impersonal approach. So we have two Aquarian energies opposing each other right now, with all this Aquarian and the sun energy and Aquarius and the Saturn energy. So keep that in mind, because it is definitely manifesting in the way things are going on. So right now, the moon is in Cancer, you guys, which is actually Cancer's home planet. The moon is in Cancer. So as we all know, the moon definitely deals with our emotions, our attitudes, the undercurrent, how we express our purpose in everyday life, and how we adapt to our environment. Right now, especially the babies that are being born and the energy that we are feeling right now, the moon is in Cancer. So we have a Cancer undercurrent right now. So in a lot of ways, we're calm, we're conscientious, we're domestic, we're imaginative, and introverted, but intuitive. But we also can be kind of moody and obnoxiously quiet for some people. Sometimes too protective, even though Cancers are generally protective. Sometimes a little bit too prudent and very sensitive. So keep that in mind. We're kind of feeling that undercurrent. As you all know, the moon moves very quickly. It moves a lot quicker than the other planets. So this is going to be kind of for a few days. We'll be feeling this in our undercurrent. Be mindful of self-pitying and sulking and being too touchy or unstable right now, because, this is a time of emotional upheaval with all this Aquarian energy coming and reckoning everything, This is what's going on. So keep that in mind. Harness the moon energy while it's in its home region, Cancer. Harness the moon energy for what you need it for. Now let's talk about the rest of the planets that are kind of pretty much in the same positions. We got Mercury, Venus, and Mars still all in Capricorn. So when it comes to our communication, when it comes to our conscious mind and everything, when it comes to our love life, when it comes to how we attract things, and also when it comes to our ability to take action and our courage and our aggression, we're all dealing with the Capricorn energy. This is also manifesting in these protests around the world right now. As we know, we've been talking about this for a few weeks. Capricorns are ambitious yet conservative. They're disciplined yet methodical. Now, sometimes they can be in a frustrated and miserly and pessimistic energy. So everybody's kind of feeling this when it comes to their communication, their love life, and their aggression tendencies. So keep that in mind. We're still dealing with that Capricorn energy right now in those areas. Jupiter is still in Pisces. So, keep in mind that your fortune and your good luck is going to come a lot through being artistic, being imaginative, being creative, and also just being in a way connected to the spiritual realm. Just don't be disillusioned in that with the Jupiter and Pisces energy. You are going to get good things by focusing on these things, but do not be too humble or too meek in situations with the Piscean energy being in place. Keep in mind all these things as we move forward, because Jupiter is still in Pisces. As I said earlier, you guys, all this stuff is in my past reading from last week on the energy, because most of the planets have not moved with the exception of the moon. So I talked a lot about this. Saturn is still in Aquarius, so we're still dealing with the need to know right now, and all of our life paths and all of our understanding of our life cycles right now. A lot of things, a lot of reckonings, and a lot of knowledge and intuitiveness and inventiveness coming forward. So keep that in mind. Uranus still in Taurus. We're still in Taurus. So when it comes to our eccentricity, when it comes to our personality and our uniqueness and all those things, we're still dealing with the Taurian energy. So just bear in mind, don't be too much of an introvert right now with the Uranus energy in Taurus. Neptune is still in Pisces, so once again, that's tying in with the Jupiter energy. Now is a time to really be clear, because the Piscean energy can blind us sometimes, you guys. It can be very it can keep us in a dream state. So keep that in mind with Neptune being in Pisces. I talked more about this in the previous readings as well. And Pluto, our generational sign, is Capricorn. So, the undercurrent was dealing with a lot of the subconscious energy is just the Capricorn energy and the society's power. So we're seeing this in a lot of things that are going on, the practicality. And, it's not harmonizing the best right in this moment with the Aquarian energy and the Sun and Saturn, because we see Capricorn going against Aquarius in a lot of ways. So keep that in mind as we move forward throughout the weeks, you guys. That is one big thing that is going on. Now let's go ahead and look at the moon chart. We're after the crescent waxing moon. So we're still waxing up to the full moon, you guys. We're very close between the 16th and 17th. That will be the full moon. So whatever projects you're working on, if you have any rituals or anything, make sure you're scheduling for the 16th and 17th for the full moon to harness that energy, build up your projects. So all these projects that we've been working on are about to come to a head and about to manifest on the 16th and 17th. So get yourself prepared for what's about to happen on the full moon, you guys. So this is our astrology reading for today. As I said earlier, if you're interested in a little bit more in-depth things, I talked a lot about it in the past couple of podcasts. So go back to the past 2 podcasts and go click on the astrology section in the description, and I'll talk a lot more about this planetary energy. And as the planets move, we'll be going over more things. Next week we'll be in Pisces, so we'll be moving to Pisces. So I'm not sure which day I'll be recording the podcast on, but if it's the last day of Aquarius or Pisces, we'll see how that works. So that's about it. That wraps up our astrology section, you guys, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the next part. For our final segment of the day, we're going to go ahead and get into our energy reading. And I am reading from the Cards for Inner Ascension from my soul sister, Sunny Patterson, who created this deck. So the link is in the bio if you guys are interested in purchasing this deck online. Please go out and support my sister. And these are 44 affirmation cards. And what was pulled today was, I am a great communicator. I am a great communicator. This card just literally popped out at me when I was shuffling and, asking the spirit guides for a message. So this is a message that wants to go out as a mantra to all the people listening, we really need to focus on this, because not only do we need to consider ourselves great communicators, we need to tell ourselves that so we can basically reroute our brains and our subconscious to find ways to communicate with all people. You know, everybody has a different way of communicating. Literally every person on earth, they understand and comprehend in a different way. And it's my personal thought that if the other person doesn't understand what you're saying, then you basically did not effectively communicate at all. You basically didn't communicate at all. So if the other person, no matter how complex the situation may be, we need to be great communicators. I am a great communicator. We have to understand that we can't explain things for ourselves. We have to explain it for the other person. We can't just talk for ourselves. We have to talk for the other person to understand us. That's what makes communication effective, when the other person can understand what it is that you're saying. And a lot of times, you know, we have the habit as listeners, we'll just kind of mull over it, or just let it go in one ear and out the other one, and not really truly grasp and understand what people are saying. But it is our job as great communicators to make sure that we say it with patience and just with a certain tenacity, that we're showing that we have understanding for the person we're communicating with. And we have to communicate effectively. If we have to talk slower, we have to do that. If we have to explain it 2 or 3 different times using different metaphors or different ways of explaining it, these are things that we have to do. But the reason why this is coming through now is because there's going to be some times, especially in the next week, where you're really going to have to use your communication skills. So please keep this in mind. Please continue to tell yourself, let this be your affirmation for the week, that I am a great communicator. Not only are you affirming this in yourself, but you're building pathways in your mind, you're building pathways in your subconscious to seek to be a great communicator, to always be able to speak in a way and to communicate in ways that are effective for the understanding of all that we speak to and all that we communicate with and all the ways that we communicate with. So just remember that and keep that in mind for this next week coming up, and do likewise. Alright guys, well that about wraps up this episode of Oba Omi Says. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I appreciate it. Once again, like, comment, and subscribe, and ring the bell for post notifications. Don't forget to schedule your reading with me. Reach out to me via my website, via any of my Instagrams. Follow any of the links in the description to find a way to contact me. All of that is out there. It's all in the description. Bear in mind that my station head is coming up soon. So keep that in mind, y'all. I know we've had a lot to talk about today. It's been a crazy week. I've tried to talk about as much as I could because this was an overwhelming week. So I hope you guys move forward and go next week into the week the most positive way that you can, manifesting all the things that you want to manifest for next week, continuing to just uplift and just do all the things that you need to do. Continue to just be a blessing to yourself first and then to others. Continue to just do all the things that you need to do in life. Continue to just be a beacon to this world and be the light in the world that you want to see. So once again, thank you so much for joining this episode of Oba Omi Says. Oba Omi, over and out.